Welcome to the Elaborate Topics podcast, where we focus on lab-specific strategies for medical laboratory professionals. We're proud to be the healthcare detectives that work behind the scenes to get the results needed to influence medical decisions. Let's grow together and jump right into the lab.
We are experiencing some of the most challenging times in the lab field, in our personal lives, and in so many industries, especially healthcare. Limited staffing, high staff turnover, challenges at work, all this has been going on for a while. How can we keep going without breaking under this pressure? Welcome to Elaborate Topics Podcast. Elaborate Topic Podcast is a weekly podcast where myself and my co-hosts, Taiwana Wilson, Stephanie Whitehead, and our guest bring you topics to help you to excel in your laboratory journey. And today I will be your host. And for those who don't know me, I'm Lona Small. I'm a quality and process improvement specialist at the Johns Hopkins Hospital, and I'm a coach and consultant at Lab OPEX Training and Consulting, where I coach lab leaders and executives who are overwhelmed and are looking for solutions to stand out, to excel, and make a difference for themselves and for their lab. And I'm so excited about today's episode. How are you doing? Seriously, how are you dealing with the never-ending stress that comes with limited staffing, high turnover, and the challenge of promoting inexperienced team members into roles they're not prepared for? Keeping up with the new automation, the IT challenges and changes, inspections, and then you go home to challenges of home life where others at home are also stressed. You find that your competence is sometimes questioned. Then you try to keep yourself together and your team, and you feel that you're bending under so much pressure. Is this really sustainable? Sometimes there's that one extra item that gets placed on the already filled plate that causes you to break. That proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back. And for me, that was my emptiness that was short-lived. I had gotten used to filling the time that I had to myself at home with working on what I considered important passion projects. I was able to do live shows, the Lab OPEX live show for my lab community. I spoke at national and international conferences and webinars. I found time to coach lab professionals and executives. And I worked on advocacies and mentored lab professionals nationally and internationally. And now I have 2 adult children at home, and I became a resident grandma. This meant major adjustments, trying to manage major responsibilities at home, and all the other things that I did outside of work became overwhelming and unsustainable. So what I realized, and I knew that I had to prioritize my wellness. My wellness was at risk, which affected others around me. So I had to dig into my core. And you know me, how important that I find when you understand your core and you utilize your core. That's how I was able to find answers to thrive during this challenging time. And for Some of you who don't know what the core is, if you listen to any of my talk, you'll understand the importance of the core. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But I was able to dig into my core. I continued to create a positive environment even when things were hard and going against the norm. I was able to build mental strength for myself. I pushed myself to grow from the challenges, not to fix the challenges. I prioritize time for meditation and wellness. And the more I focus on being a better person in the challenges, the more others around me benefited. So, the approach that comes to most people under stress when things are chaotic and they're not going as expected is to keep everything under some semblance of control, to try as hard as possible to at least maintain the status quo. So this talk is not about pushing you through and being strong when things are challenging. What I would tell you to do instead is to let everything go and focus on yourself. And this may seem shocking and counterproductive, but in reality, to effectively lead, you have to start by leading yourself first. So I'll share with you what I did to grow during the challenging times, to be a better person, and to gain even more skills to help others in my community and the people that I lead. So during the challenging time, I led myself and I received 2 coaching certifications, one as a holistic life coach and the other as a business coach and consultant. And as I coach myself to grow, I saw how my persistence and positivity challenge others to do the same. So, what I'm going to go through today during this podcast, I'm going to go through these steps that I use and I know you can benefit and grow from even when things are challenging. So, what do? Focus on your core. And so we're going to go into how you can focus on your core and lead in these challenging times. Lead yourself. So your core role. What are the job roles and responsibilities that are in your zone of genius that only you do so effectively? And they have that biggest bang for your bucks. Focus on those and let the others go, even if they're temporary, even if you're going to let them go temporarily. What can be outsourced? What can be delegated? What can be eliminated or put on hold? Your priority at this time is you and your well-being. So the core role is one of the first core that you look at. Your core vision. Do not let go of the outcome that you want for yourself, for your team, for your family, for your community. It's important to have that positive vision when things are challenging. So you're creating that vision for yourself and your team, and that will help you maintain that positive attitude. And you know for sure that you'll get through things as a better individual and also as a better team. So when you're holding a clear vision of the outcome that you want, you're going to need to set aside some time to visualize on a consistent basis, whether it's in the morning before you go to work or taking times throughout the day to visualize and look at the outcome that you want and get really, really excited about it. And I know a lot of people don't realize the importance of having a clear vision. And that was one of the first few skills when it comes to soft skills that were introduced into the workplace, because most people realize that if you didn't have a clear vision for your job, for your organization, it was meant to fail. So having a clear vision is not just something in writing, but it's practical. It's something that you sit down and you're quiet yourself and you actually picture that outcome that you want to see for yourself. And you can see it clearly. And until you get to that point where you're seeing it so clearly that you're so excited, that's when you're actually creating that clear vision. And you can go back to an episode that I did where I go through step by step of how to create a clear vision for yourself. And it's not only done by leaders, but you can do that for yourself. So that's your core vision. The next part of your core that you're going to focus on in challenging time is your core values. And in my coaching practice, I coach lab leaders to select 4 to 5 values that are important to them, that they use to guide them to make decisions both professionally and personally. But when times get really trying, and you're in those challenging situations, sometimes your core values will be in question. And then you may even find that instead of being able to maintain that 4 to 5, you may have to make some adjustments. And that may seem so almost hypocritical from someone who makes such a major deal about core values. However, you may have to make adjustments. And I'm going to give you an example for me. So my core values are inclusivity. I believe we are all important parts of the whole. Second one is holistic life. I prioritize all areas of my life. Third one is empowerment. I get joy in building others up. The fourth one is continuous growth. I always look for opportunities to learn and improve. And the last one is collaborate. I multiply value through collaboration. And for me, my holistic life was questioned. And I had to make adjustment to that core value. That holistic life said I prioritize all areas of my life. Yes, that came into question. So there were things that I had to do a little differently. So I prioritize and I get fulfillment when it comes to doing a lot of things like having a live show that I did like every Thursday. I did the Lab OPEX Live for my community. And I had to make some choices. So instead of getting fulfillment or trying to create that holistic lifestyle, I still was able to get fulfillment through taking care of my grandchild. But I had to replace some things. So I got fulfillment through taking care of my grandchild, and I gave up some of the things that I did, like spending a lot. I reduced the time that I spent reaching out to others. And I knew it was going to be temporary, but I had to make those adjustments. I did a lot of outreach, not only locally, but internationally. I mentored people internationally. And I had to find other ways to empower. And one of my core value is empowerment. And so I had to find other ways to empower that just came out of my interaction with people, that little interaction that I could have where creating that positive environment would have an impact on others and have them to want to do the same. So I had to make some adjustment when it came to my core values. It doesn't mean that you give up your core values, but you're examining your core values. And a lot of times when you make those adjustments, As I said, and if you listen to my episode on core values, it will create friction. It will create friction because your fulfillment comes from the things that you do that are important to you. And so there will be some friction, but then there will be growth. And a lot of the friction should be temporary because of the vision that you have for the outcome for yourself. And so um, that's that part about your core values. The next piece on your core is your core self. And so knowing your core self is really, really important when it's challenging. So understanding how to appreciate, how to nurture, how to build and strengthen your personal attributes so that you can lead yourself, lead in your life and career is important. So when time gets rough and things are not going our way, we have all these voices in our heads telling us that we weren't meant to do what we do. We weren't meant to do what we do, and we're like, we're not good enough, and you weren't supposed to do this anyway. And sometimes the voice in our heads may not be attacking us, but maybe attacking others, maybe blaming others, blaming situation. So we spend a lot of our time focusing on what's not going good. And so the way to quiet the negative chatter is by first knowing that you can do it. Knowing that you're uniquely positioned in the right place at the right time for what you need to do. And so that's so important to know that you can do it. And one exercise that I use with my client to reinforce their core self, and you can do it also to reinforce those attributes about you, is the reverse gap. And with the reverse gap, basically, instead of looking ahead and looking at what you're missing, you look back and look at what you have already accomplished. And so in a reverse gap, you can go into a quiet place with a pen and a paper. You close your eyes and you do just a few rounds of breathing, maybe about 5 rounds of slow breathing in and out, and have your eyes closed. And then once that's done, you open your eyes, you take your pen and paper and start writing. So you're going to look at all the many positive accomplishments, all those achievements that you have had over the years. If you had to go back to childhood, go back. Well, you're going to go and you're going to write under these categories. These are categories of your core self. And the first category is on a health and physical fortitude or under appearance. So everything that you have accomplished or you're proud about when it comes to your health, physical fortitude, your strength, and appearance, write those down. And just keep writing all the things that you have accomplished over the years. The next category for your core self is your emotional intelligence and awareness. What have you accomplished that you know that it was based on your emotional intelligence? It could be getting the job. It could be when you're training others. It could be through mentorship. It could be how you relate to people. It could be just being empathetic and, how you can see when people are affected. It could be how you manage your emotion. It could just think of things that you have accomplished when it comes to emotional intelligence and awareness. Another category on your core self is your intellect. What have you accomplished over the years where you're able to accomplish in terms of getting into college, getting into the program, passing the medical lab professional program? Any promotion you have gotten that you have used your intellect, any stories you have written or publication, anything that you were able to use your intellect as a leader or as a team member, write those down. You're going back and you're looking at your accomplishment. The next category is social connection and relationship building. What have you done that you're really proud of in terms of positive accomplishment and achievement when it came to your social connection and relationship building? Write those down. And the last piece is your character and identity. What is it about you that help you to stand out? Help you to stand out in your job, help you maybe to get your job, help you to stand out with other people. What is it about you that's important? It could be something that you're structured. It could be something that you're empathetic. It could be something that you don't waste time. Whatever it is about your character that have allowed you to accomplish some things, achieve something that you're proud of, and your identity, write those down. And so, if you want, it's best to pause this now and do it. And you know you're going to get it over and it's done. Or you can set a time to get it done. But this is such a impactful exercise that you're going to want to do it. And for people who have done it, who have paused the podcast and came back, isn't that amazing? You have done so much. You have come so far. And remember that. Have this to go back to. When things get rough and you want to beat yourself up or blame everybody or everything, go back and look at this. You are amazing. Maintain that attitude of working on yourself. Prioritize your mental stamina when things get challenging. My mental strength is one of the biggest things that helped me through challenges. Another tool that I learned recently, and I want to share with you, that tool that's able to quiet mental chatter and bring out calm and positive expectation is something called the PQ rep. And PQ is positive quotient. And these are just some small little exercise, and I will keep these in my toolbox, and I'm going to use it to help other lab leaders and executives. But these are like 1 to 2 minute exercises, such as rubbing your fingertips against each other and keep your eyes closed and focuses on the ridges on your fingertip. And these small acts, for the time that you do it, you'll be surprised at the magic of how it really calm yourself and put you in such a positive mode where you can be clear. And another one is just like focusing on small objects, maybe a small object, looking at the detail for just a small period of time. And these are really powerful exercises, and they're so life-changing that it will really, really help you to have positive expectation and build your mental muscles and create the best environment for yourself and for your team and for your loved one. And I want you to check these out. Check out this book, Positive Intelligence by Shahrzad Charmin. And Shahrzad is spelled Shirdzad. Charmin is spelled Charmine. So working on your core self can be the most rewarding thing you could ever do. It's not only beneficial to you, but everyone around you. So you lead yourself by being a role model. You shine that light to others around you. And you can create that positive environment where there's growth instead of breaking under pressure. And I know this is really about you. And I know it's about you, but you'll be surprised the benefit that everyone else around you will have when you focus on leading you. So you're going to focus on your core. You're going to look at your core role, prioritizing that. You're going to look at your core vision, do that frequently. You're going to focus on your core values. And if there's even a need to make adjustments, you still maintain those 4 core values, but you may have to make small adjustments. And then you're going to focus on your core self. And some of the ways to focus on your core self is to look at different aspects of yourself and nurture, build, and strengthen those aspects. And a great way to do that is through that reverse gap exercise and PQ rep. And I know that I just mentioned these just a little bit. And it's not something maybe for the exercise. You could read the book Positive Intelligence. But in order to know more about working on your core self, you can reach out to me. But the first thing, instead of trying to say, how can I do it all? The first thing that I would ask you to do is to create a clear vision of the outcome that you want for yourself and for your team. And find some time every morning, maybe in a quiet place, preferably in nature, but you can do that in your house. Find that quiet time and picture yourself. Picture your loved one, your team reaching and achieving the outcome that you dream of. So that's the first thing. Then next, you can reach out to me to learn more about how you can lead yourself first by tapping into your core and applying those mental fitness exercise to achieve the goals that you set out to achieve for yourself while positively affecting others around you. And I know you can always go back and listen to this episode and go through this step by step. Once you have a clear vision for yourself, then you can work on the different aspect of your core and build that leader in you. So you can reach out to me at Lona Small at lonasmall.com or Lona Gordon Small on LinkedIn. So email Lona Small at lonasmall.com or Lona Small on LinkedIn if you want to learn more about your core. And it was really a pleasure sharing with you on this episode of Elaborate Topics podcast. So thank you so much for listening. And you can listen to this and other episode on directimpactbroadcasting.com or on your favorite podcast platform. And now we're on LabVine, where you can sign up to on LabVine on labvinelearning.com for free membership, and you'll have access to this podcast. Or you can also join Elaborate Topics Facebook group and LinkedIn group, and email us at elaboratetopics at directimpactbroadcasting.com, Elaborate Topics at directimpactbroadcasting.com with any questions or suggestions for topics you'd love to listen to, or submit a request to be a guest on the show by logging into directimpactbroadcasting.com. So looking forward to speaking to you and hearing from you. Just send me an email or reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we can learn about more on how you can tap into your core. Have a great one until we speak again.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Elaborate Topics. where your hosts discussed relevant strategies for laboratory professionals. Please subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and listen to us on directimpactbroadcasting.com. Stay tuned for another episode with information you can use to excel in your laboratory career.